What is going on, Misfit Nation? Welcome to another episode of the Misfit Wrestling Podcast. I'm your host, Matt the Misfit. Tonight, we're going to go over AEW Dynamite for the April the 12th, 2023. We're just a couple weeks away. Well, actually, we're not even that. We are lots of ways away from AEW's Double or Nothing. That show seems to be stacking up nicely, though no matches announced. I kind of got the gist of where everything is going to go. Here, I'll go over the potential match card for that show as well. Then AEW return here tonight with Jeff Hardy coming back from his rehab and from all the DUI stuff that he was dealing with as well. We had an actually really fun show. Great matches all around. The Outcasts continue to be the worst thing on the show. We finally got a storyline with Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland. Finally, Adam Cole seems to be doing stuff with Chris Jericho and all that stuff. But we'll talk all about that in the review. We also got a huge update on the status of two-time AEW World Champion CM Punk. That and much, much more. If you like what you see here, hit the like button. Comment down below, hit the subscribe button, follow the social medias, Misfit Podcast TV on Twitter, Misfit Wrestling Pod on the Instagram, the other audio outlets, Spotify, Amazon Music, Audible, Stitcher, Pandora, iHeartRadio, and Google Podcasts. That's all I got for the plugs there. Let's get over to this, before I actually get over to the big story with CM Punk, I apologize for not being able to do Raw, SmackDown, AEW, and Ring of Honor last week. Vince coming back into creative kind of killed me all week, and I just didn't feel like doing any reviews that week. I wanted to do Raw this coming Monday because I thought Raw was a vast improvement from what we had on last Monday. SmackDown was a Triple H show, thankfully. But that I wasn't too worried about. But and I did enjoy Dynamite last week, by the way. I thought that was a fun show. But I wanted to go over quickly on Raw, what I thought about Raw. I'll get to Raw. I thought was vastly different from what we had last week. Though there were some changes to that show as well, we did find out Vince was not backstage at Raw. Thank God. I hope that's the norm going forward. But we did find out that half of the roster had travel issues, so a lot of the matches had to be scrapped. Originally, we were going to have Io Sky and Bianca Belair. Bianca couldn't make it. It was going to be Sami Zayn and Solo Sikoa. That did not end up happening. I believe it was supposed to be Sami Zayn and Solo Sikoa, but I could be wrong on that one. Bobby Lashley was going to do something with Austin Theory. That didn't end up happening. Sami Zayn and Matt Riddle. Matt Riddle was supposed to wrestle The Miz, but that was canceled before the whole travel issues thing came about, because it just didn't make sense for those two to have a match at all. So, but Sami and Riddle did end up coming out at the end of the show. They were able to make it. We've seen a heel turn from Trish Stratus. Trish Stratus is good. They're doing the program between Trish and Becky. That was actually confirmed. Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez won the Women's Tag Team Championships. We're probably going to lose it straight to Shayna and Ronda. Bobby Lashley and Bronson Reed beat the shit out of each other. It was great to see that. Balor. So originally this was supposed to be the LWO versus Judgment Day. I believe it was supposed to be LWO versus Judgment Day. However, again, Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley could not make it to the show, so they were off TV. So it ended up being Finn Balor and Rey Mysterio, which kudos to Finn Balor, who has like 14 stitches in his head and a half tear and a tear in his calf. And he went out there and had a really good match with Finn Balor, so that was good. Io Sky looks to be getting a singles push. Thank you. Thank God. I'm happy to see that. If I'm booking the match between her and Bianca Belair, hopefully a Backlash, I will put the title on Io Sky. That's just me. But that's my little thoughts on Raw and my whole thing there. Another thing, Eric Young, I did want to bring this up too. Eric Young has been under contract since November 1st of I believe it was November 1st or November 21st of 2022. They just haven't brought him back to TV yet. So I'm assuming they're going to wait until the draft, which was announced last Friday on SmackDown. Triple H announced the return of the draft. Hopefully they take it seriously this time. And I keep forgetting that Triple H is still working. I'm assuming he's still working under the whole thing is his creative direction here. He's still working with a Vince McMahon roster. We also found out that it's going to be Cody Rhodes versus not Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes versus Brock Lesnar at Backlash. But I'll save all the more WWE talk for SmackDown on Friday. AEW. Let's go over to AEW. Let's get over to the CM Punk news here. This is very, very, very big news here. Well, I mean, it's not really big. It's not really kept secret, but it's news. And I have to cover it. So there we go. CM Punk has told All Elite Wrestling that he wants to return to the company. Punk wants to come back to pro wrestling. It says Fightful Select. Okay, so this report is from Fightful Select, so go subscribe to Fightful Select. Fightful has reported numerous times on Punk still having the wrestling bug. In addition to Stephen Kim's, I believe that's her name, Kim's book of making him miss wrestling. But we've learned that Punk has communicated repeatedly with AEW that he wants to come back. Fightful has learned that Punk has laid out numerous scenarios with which he'd return. Among those scenarios includes a willingness to work with Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks. However, we've heard that at least as a few months ago, Omega and the Bucks didn't seem keen on doing that for obvious reasons. We're told that we're not sure. Fightful says we're not sure if that's changed as AEW has progressed on landing. They're working on landing new deals with the Bucks and Omega. Maybe Punk too. Punk has also expressed he's willing to return to work for AEW and keep completely separate from the Elite along the way. So he's willing to come back and probably work with MJF or Darby Allin again or Jungle Boy or whoever, But he, like I said, he's willing to come back and work either way. There were some talent that were of the belief that the rumored upcoming Saturday show, which is the big show in London, England. They did find out that announced when the first show in London is going to happen. Wembley Stadium. I believe it was August 21st. I don't want to make that up here, but I do think it is November 21st. It's August 27th, Allin, Wembley Stadium. Yes, you heard me right. The 90,000 seat arena, I believe. Yeah, 96,000 seat arena. The same stadium. Well, it's sort of the same stadium, but it's a new version of the stadium that was tore down in 2003. The same stadium where SummerSlam 1992 took place, where Bret Hart the British Bulldog defeated Bret Hart to win the Intercontinental Championship. But yeah, that was a big announcement last week. So Tony Khan actually kept true to his word on that. But the talent believe the talent were on the belief that the upcoming show at Wembley Stadium could be used to facilitate that with some separation from to the AEW. Well, okay, so this AEW Saturday show is that I believe that that new show that they're talking about, but I just wanted to throw in the All-In thing. Anyway, which is up in this report too. But higher ups has not confirmed that to Fightful as well. In addition, we're told that Punk has been open to work elsewhere, though we're not sure what that means, as that could mean inside AEW through Ring of Honor or outside of AEW, like New Japan Pro Wrestling, All Japan Pro Wrestling, PWG, AEW, or not AEW, WWE, or wherever. Dax Harwood was speaking on his podcast, pushing the idea of CMFTR versus the Elite at Allin at Wembley, which I just mentioned Wembley a second ago. But we haven't heard if there's any specific progression on that. Dax did say during a recent interview that he's in consistent contact with CM Punk. So, seems like I said, Punk seems to be willing to work again with the people he pissed off, and in order for him to do that, listen, I don't mind seeing Punk coming back. I'm not one of those people that think, oh, he needs to fucking go away and never come back or whatever, right? What he did at All Out last year was fucking stupid and didn't need to happen, of course. He shouldn't have said what he said at a press conference, a media scrum, just 30 minutes after one of their biggest pay-per-views, coming off of winning the title back from Moxley and setting up what was supposed to be MJF's big moment. Kind of cut that dry. The shit on the Bucks and Hangman and Omega and Colt Cabana for some fucking reason, but But again, if he's willing to come back, he first needs to apologize to not just Tony Khan, but the entire locker room, and say, I apologize, I was out of line, I'm willing to make amends with all you guys. You don't have to like me, but or respect me, but I'm okay. But I'm okay to willing to work together again. So, I mean, I already know that I don't even know if that whole thing with the Instagram post is real or not. But makes you wonder if it was real or not. Punk, speaking of Instagram posts, sort of, I guess, responded on Instagram with a picture of his face poorly photoshopped onto a picture of Rocky from Rocky 3. We did also find out tonight AEW will be to return to Chicago on Wednesday, June 21st at Wintrust Arena, the normal home for well, it's not the normal home for all out, but it's one of the Dynamite arenas they do. It's the go home show before Forbidden Door, so I wouldn't be surprised to see CM Punk on that show. So let's get into the actual show here. Dynamite here. Dynamite opened up with Darby Allin, Swerve Strickland in a great opening match here. Darby Allin, of course, gets the win here with the Last Supper. Going back and forth here. Crowd was actually very hot for this match here. In the back, we've seen Ty Mello and Sammy Guevara observing from backstage area because they're teasing it seems like they're setting up a four corners match or four-way match at Double or Nothing for the AEW Championship. Strickland great here. Strickland, I'm so glad to see Swerve being utilized on television and getting away from that fucking whatever shit they were trying to do with Swerve earlier. Because now Swerve has gotten rid of not the Trust Busters. What the fuck is those people's names? I forgot. Parker Bardreau and whoever the other fucking dude with all the tattoos. That damn baseball guy. They got rid of them like fucking flies, and I'm glad to see that. But yeah, Darby Allin wins here. Like I said, Last Supper for the win. A lot of roll-ups on the show here. After the match, MJF comes out here, talks all this shit, saying he isn't on the level of the devil, which was a nice line. Darby gets on the mic and says if he's happy. He asks MJF if he's happy. He recalls meeting him before they joined AEW. MJF and talking about MJF having his problems washing away when he joined the wrestling promotion that has a national television deal, basically talking about AEW. Darby confesses to checking into therapy during his first year of AEW, and encourages MJF to do the same, and as it encourages him to get to start getting back in order to be happy again. He describes AEW as a 15-minute ride and says that he won't lower his morals for fame. MJF responds by calling Darby an arrogant little boy. Says that he's tired of Darby, Jungle Boy, and Sammy Guevara whining about his morals. MJF says that by saying he's willing to do whatever it takes to be world champion, he'll leave behind a legacy as the best wrestler of all time. Promo confrontation is then interrupted by Sting, because at one point MJF called Sting Darby's daddy, and Darby says, "Oh, he isn't my daddy." Well, now Darby, why would you lie to people? Sting is your daddy. Don't lie about that. Sting came out here, asked MJF why he keeps talking about daddy's daycare. Says that he said, and Sting says it to offend. If it says that it offends him because he sees himself as a cheerleader, Sting explains that he has a fever, and the only cure for this fever is more pom poms. Because Sting has pom poms just flying everywhere out of his jacket. I don't know how the hell he fit them all in there. A coat. He did come out with a gigantic coat on, regular sports coat. Sting explains. Okay, so I got that part. So he's talking about the pop poms before bringing up MJF's relationship with Cody Rhodes. Because you got to mention Cody Rhodes if you're going to do the talk about daddy's daycare. You got to mention Cody Rhodes. He says Rhodes was MJF's support system, much like Sting is Darby Allin's. Sting then gave a shout out to Ric Flair for helping him back in the day, then opens up to share his love for Kevin Nash, and Scott Hall gave them 2 sweets. Gave Nash the 2 sweet to the camera, and then a 2 sweet to the sky for Scott Hall. Nice little gesture there. Talks about his also by him being a Surfer Sting, the Crow Sting, all that stuff. Joker Sting a little bit. Sting says his run is almost over, but Darby will become AEW World Champion. MJF and Darby had the stare down after Sting's speech, and then they just start brawling. And that's how that ended. Didn't get very much into it because MJF just decided to leave. Next up, we got Powerhouse Hobbs whipping the shit out of Silas Young, which I'm sort of disappointed, but not really. I love Silas Young, though. I don't think Silas Young deserved that, though. After the match, because there's really no point in talking about it, because it was a squash match, Wardlow's on the screen beating up Powerhouse Hobbs' car, and is just beating up with a baseball bat, takes a forklift, and Stone Cold Steve Austin's the car. And then once he gets to the car, the forklift just moves by itself. I don't know what the fuck happened there. That was really creepy. But we did find out next week is going to be Powerhouse Hobbs defending the TNT Championship against Wardlow in a rematch. So there we go. Then you got a Bullet Club segment. Switchblade Jay White, who made his AEW debut last week. I should point that out. Good to see. You know what? I'm not that mad about Jay White joining AEW. But Vince kind of screwed over his Triple H with that whole thing. But Jay White's kind of good promo. He talks about Bullet Club, saying that he and Juice Robinson are the best faction in the group. I don't know about that, Jay. They brag about giving Ricky Starks a beatdown on last week's show, and they assure that Mr. Absolute. I can't say absolute for some reason. And sorry if I sound like I got a cold. My nose is a little stuffy here. I'll take care of that after I do this review. They rest assure Ricky Starks that they're just getting started. Jay White, Switchblade, says that they'll take over AEW. And their team, and they're not going to be called Bullet Club Gold, which is fine. El Phantasmo, by the way, earlier this weekend got kicked out of the regular Bullet Club by not the real leader, David Finlay, rather. So I can see El Phantasmo jump over to AEW and join Switchblade and Juice Robinson. And see what happens there. We'll see what happens with that here. Orange Cassidy defeated Buddy Matthews to retain the All-Atlantic International Champion, or not the All-Atlantic, the International Championship in a great match. Buddy Matthews is fucking underrated, man. Man, I love Buddy Matthews, man. He's great. So I've seen a few V-trigger hits here. Buddy Matthews tried to go for Murphy's Law multiple times. But he kicked out of the Orange Punch not once, but I think it was 3 times. He went for the match ended with a surprise roll up, or as I'm not even going to try to pronounce the actual word. I'm just gonna have this AI pronounce it for me. Can you do that for me, AI, please?
起死回生.
Thank you. That move, the move that Saki Kashima, it's one of her finishers. She been to big matches with those. But that's how that ended, with a surprise roll up. There was no spooky stuff here, no House of Black stuff afterwards. So Buddy Matthews seems to be losing a lot of singles matches lately. We need to change that here. Following the matchup, we got a spooky video package with Christian and Luchasaurus. Christian says that some things have to change, and then teases the end of the teaser ends with on an ambiguous note, whatever the hell that means. Then we are going back to break, or we move back from break. We go to the back here. Trent Beretta says that Orange Cassidy is fine, but before he and Chuck Taylor call out Aussie Open, because Aussie Open were backstage tonight for an IWGP Championship title match on Rampage. I think that was accepted because I don't remember seeing the graphic for that pop up during the main event or during the rundown of Dynamite or Rampage or whatever it was. So the show then cuts to Ethan Page in the ring, because we got Ethan Page talking about whatever. Demands answers from Matt Hardy and Isaiah Cassidy. They come out to the ring. Hardy confesses that he manipulated Page into signing Page's contract. Told him that he should have read the fine print, revealing that a victory over Page will free him from his agreement with the firm. Then they I guess sort of agreed to a match where I believe it was Matt Hardy versus Ethan Page. and then the winner of that match, I guess, leaves the firm or whatever it is. Yeah, I forgot what it was. Anyways, Big Bill comes in with everybody else, beats up not Orange Cassidy, the other Cassidy, Isaiah Cassidy, and Matt Hardy. Hook comes out to make the save. The number advantage then gets in the way of the firm. Jeff Hardy's music hits, big pop. He comes out here doing the Swamp Tom Bomb and Twist of Fate. Jeff Hardy looks happy to be back. I hope Jeff Hardy has found the help he needs, because personally, I don't think he needs to be in the ring anymore. He's a liability, but we'll see. We'll see. I'll reserve judgment, but we'll see what happens. Michael Nakazawa and Brandon Cutler got their asses handed to them by the Blackpool Combat Club. They win, by the way, if you couldn't tell, by referee stoppage. Moxley grabs the microphone, calls up the Young Bucks, Adam Page, Don Callis, which we found out that the Don Callis' cut from last week was so deep, it looked nasty. Moxley brags about sending them all to the hospital. They are then interrupted by Kenny Omega, who said earlier in the night that he wasn't there. The former AEW World Champion provides a distraction, which allows Nick and Matt Jackson, who I believe was Matt Jackson or Nick Jackson, one of the two had a knee injury they were recovering from. They super kicked them. The elite super kicked Moxley and the gang and friends took them out, distracted them. It looks like they're getting ready to just murder the shit out of Jon Moxley with a screwdriver, the same screwdriver that Moxley stabbed Hangman Page in the eye with. But the Blackpool Combat Club kind of just got Moxley out of there, and they're nicely setting up for Double or Nothing. Backstage, we see Prince Nana, Brian Cage, who did resign with the company, and Swerve Strickland, who are backstage. Big interview by Tony Giovanni. They verbally take aim at Darby Allin before stating that they intend to get their pound of flesh. Swerve saying something about he has unfinished business, I guess. Tony Storm and Ruby Soho defeated Riho and Sky Blue. I didn't care about this. I love Ruby Soho. I love Swerve. I love Tony Storm. I love Riho. Don't really care about Sky Blue. Sky Blue did sign a contract. After the match here, they deliver a triple power bomb to Riho after spraying the giant letter L on it. Out comes Jamie Hayter and Britt Baker to make the save. I hate the storyline so much. I hate the Outcast group as a whole. The whole gimmick is dumb. And I cannot wait for it to be over. Next up, main event time. Keith Lee, Chris Jericho, with Sammy Guevara in the corner of the Le Champion, the Ocho. Final little match here. Keith Lee hasn't been on TV. I haven't seen Keith Lee wrestle in months, it seems like. This actually, to my knowledge, I think this is Keith Lee's first singles match in a year, maybe, since he signed with the company. But the match ended here with Swerve Strickland coming out under a mask or something. Knocks Keith Lee into the head with some type of foreign object. Allows Chris Jericho to get the cover for the win. And that's how that match ended. And that's how, and I'm curious to see where they're going to go with that, because it seems like they're going to do two stories at once here. I'm glad Keith Lee's getting something on television. Adam Cole comes out, gives Keith Lee a post-match pep talk, does a fist bump, they go up the ramp. Jericho and Garcia are trash talk, and that's how Dynamite goes off the air. So I thought Dynamite this week was an enjoyable show. Again, I'm sorry for my weird voice here. It's kind of I I may have sinus problems. I may be getting sick. I don't know. I don't honestly know, and I have an answer for that. Let me go over this rumored card. This is what we've seen so far right here. I only have a few things on the show right now. So we got the Elite versus Blackpool Combat Club. I think that's going to be Omega, the Bucks, and Hangman Page versus obviously Moxley, Bryan, Claudio, and Yuta. In Anarchy in the Arena, they can't do a regular 8-man tag match. They can't just do that. I'm sorry, you got to do Anarchy in the Arena. They're probably going to do the Fatal 4-Way match, the AEW title, MJF, Jungle Boy, Darby Allin, and Sammy Guevara. Chris Jericho and Adam Cole is going to be something, and Jay White and Swerve, Jay White and Starks, and probably Keith Lee versus Swerve Strickland. Probably on that show as well. But yeah, that's been Dynamite. This has been the Miss Wrestling Podcast. All the links are going to be in the description down below. And I forgot to plug where the YouTube channels. I just simple. YouTube.com/@Misfit Wrestling Podcast. I will hopefully be back for Ring of Honor if my sinuses don't go away. I will be back here for not Rampage. What the fuck is that show that comes on Fridays? SmackDown. Until then, I've been Matt Lemon Smith. This has been the Mr. Wrestling Podcast. We're out.